afternoon, friends. This is Ernest Sears Jr. coming to you with SOS Consulting Peak Performance Coaching. And we have been discussing the 13 red flags, and we have covered 1 through 12, and we have one more to go. And today I'm going to talk to you about the 13th and final red flag that I'll be covering. And it has to do with someone on your team who consistently disagrees disagreeably. This is someone who does not know how to agree to disagree. They get into an altercation or in a situation where someone is explaining or expressing an opinion that is different from their own, and they do not understand how to get to know other people's point of view, listen to other people's point of view, acknowledge what they heard, even if they don't agree. We all know that if you live long enough, you are going to disagree with someone. There is someone who is not gonna follow your point of view, you're not gonna like theirs. But in order for us to get along in the world, in order for us to be successful, meet lots of different people, learn and grow, that will entail encountering others that have differing opinions, different ways of looking at the world. And you may not like their point of view, they may not like yours, but I think it's important to seek understanding. So you want to understand someone's point of view, even if you don't like it. The reasons why you don't like it, sometimes you don't know why, right? Sometimes you're talking to someone, or they're expressing an opinion that you really don't like. And for whatever reason, you may not know exactly why you don't like it. But the more you listen to what they have to say, and the more that you even jot down notes, whether it's mentally or on a piece of paper, you jot down those notes and you think about the reasons why you don't really agree with their point of view. And when you've had a chance to listen completely to what they have to say, one of the things I recommend you do, instead of just talking about how much you disagree and how you don't like their point of view and how it doesn't make sense, the first thing you have to do is acknowledge what you heard and even repeat back what you heard just to make sure that you heard it correctly. Because oftentimes you didn't hear it correctly. Oftentimes you were so busy thinking about your point of view that is different from theirs that you really didn't give yourself the time to understand their point of view, to listen to it, and to really take it in. So when you listen to someone who is giving you an opinion, and so it's someone that you don't agree with, remember how important it is for you to actually acknowledge what you heard, repeat back what you heard, to make sure that you actually hear them and understand what they're saying. And once you understand it, then maybe you can talk about what about their argument and what about their point of view you disagree with. But you can't really do that effectively if you haven't yet taken the opportunity to listen to them and understand where they're coming from, right? So someone on your team who does not take the time to understand another person's point of view and just goes back and forth defending their own point of view without taking the time to understand somebody else's point of view is someone that can be a detriment to your team. It can be a detriment to your team's growth, development. They're obviously going to be a detriment to themselves. But as a coach, as a leader, for you to be able to help them means that you have to teach them the skill of attentively listening, the skill of listening to a point of view or an argument that you don't agree with, but listening to it for genuine understanding, to really understand and get a feel for where they're coming from. And once you can acknowledge what you heard and repeat back what you heard, then believe it or not, you have reached the point where someone is now going to be more open to listening to what you have to say. Because if you're not willing to listen to what they have to say and understand their point of view, they're not going to want to hear you. This is one of the first steps to being able to negotiate. It's one of the first steps to being able to grow and build a team of people that have different points of view, diverse points of view, diverse backgrounds, diverse ways of looking at things. When you have a group of people that are from diverse backgrounds, diverse points of view, and have lots of different skill sets that are different from your own, then you have put together a team that can solve just about any problem you bring to them. But everybody, even though they're completely different and bring all sorts of different viewpoints to the board, they have to have this one thing in common. And what is that? They have to have the ability and the true desire to understand another person's point of view. Even if you don't like it, even if you don't agree with it, you have to be able to take it in, listen to it, repeat it back even. And then at that point, you have gained that person's respect. You have given that person your time, and you have proven to that person that you did take the time to listen to their point of view and to understand it. And then and only then have you earned the right to talk to them about your point of view and to explain to them why you don't agree with them. So I recommend you try that. It works all the time. And it's okay to disagree. You don't have to agree with everybody's point of view to be their friend. You don't have to agree with everything other people say, but you do have to seek to understand, and you have to agree to disagree. So that has to happen. If you disagree with someone, it's okay. You don't have to be disagreeable. You can disagree, but you can do it agreeably. Okay? Because we all do need to be able to work together and see other points of view and respect each other's opinions and points of view, even if they're different from our own. Okay? So to summarize, very, very important for the people on your team to be able to take in different points of view, to be able to listen to somebody's point of view that is completely different from theirs, even if they disagree with it, and to be able to understand that person's point of view to the point where you can repeat it back, right? And at that point, if you can do that, then it's okay to be able to disagree because you can do it agreeably. So let's agree to disagree, right? And let's do it agreeably. The name calling that's happening these days when you're not agreeing with someone or you don't like their point of view or you don't appreciate where they're coming from, the name calling that happens, that is a result of a breakdown in communication and a breakdown in a genuine desire to understand something other than your comfort zone. Stepping out of your comfort zone to understand another person's point of view is a skill. And if you don't develop that, you are going to allow yourself to get emotionally out of control, and you're going to start name calling. When you see people having arguments where they're name calling, being disrespectful to each other, that is because they have not taken the time to develop the ability to listen attentively to another person's point of view, repeat it back, and then begin to talk about what are the reasons why they don't agree. What are the arguments, the logical arguments, cogent, coherent arguments that can be made as to why you don't agree and why maybe that other person should see it a different way, right? So stop the name calling. Stop allowing yourself to get so emotionally engaged that you're not using your critical thinking skills. So let's do that. Let's make a change. And it's okay to disagree. Another thing that people do is just go along with it. You know what? I don't want to argue. I really would not want to engage in this particular argument because it's going to be exhausting. I'm going to lose a friend. I'm going to lose, a colleague or a potential account. Honestly, sometimes that is the correct response. Sometimes the correct response in some contexts is to just nod, smile, and wait another day, because it's not always the right time to discuss or express an opposing view. Context is very important. But in situations where you're comfortable and there is ample time for discussion, go ahead and listen. And once you listen, show that you've understood what you just heard by repeating it back and making sure that you've heard them correctly by saying, is that what I heard you say, or did I hear it correctly? And then once they say yes, number one, the frustration that they've been feeling because you don't seem to agree with them, that is going to dissipate because now you've shown them respect by listening to their point of view and repeating it back. Now their guard has gone down. Their guard has gone totally down, and they're now a little bit more willing to listen to what you have to say. When before, because you were not listening, because you didn't take the time to repeat back what you heard and to find out from them to confirm whether or not what you heard was correct, the frustration level was high and they were guarded, and they were probably not going to be in a position to listen to you at all. But if you listen to that other person and you show them that you understand their point of view, now you have the opportunity to change their mind. And if you can't change their mind, it's fine. At least you both took the time to understand each other and understand each other's point of view without engaging in name calling, devolving into this cat fight where you're name calling and the emotions are involved, and nobody's getting anywhere. So that's my last toxic red flag. I think it's really important. I saved it for last because it's the one, honestly, I see the most often. And there are lots of symptoms of that in our society today and in our American culture today. There's a lot of division where people are entrenched in their own points of view, where they don't really want to know what the other person is thinking or why they're thinking it. All they know is they don't agree. So very important to learn how to agree to disagree, but only after you've had the opportunity to really understand another person's point of view. Okay? So stop the name calling. Let's start understanding each other and start engaging in adult discussions where we're using our critical thinking skills and we're growing. How do we grow? We grow when there's conflict and it forces us to see another way of doing things. And it forces us to see another side of the story, another side of the argument, another way of thinking. Conflict forces us to grow if we let it. Again, this is Ernest Sears Jr. coming to you from SOS Consulting, Peak Performance Coaching. Remember the importance of reflecting, recalibrating, and reinventing. Take care, folks.